Hey everyone, welcome to another video. This time I want to quickly show you my process of prepping a character for 3D printing. Before moving on, I want to say that I have a full tutorial that explains a lot deeper what I'm doing here, and you can find all the information about this and the promo code on the description below. This is a stylized Shaquille O'Neal that I recently finished, and it was based on a caricature created by Harry Dunkwu. I used this concept as a reference and I took it all the way to a full character. I usually start this process by merging the entire character into one single subtool. This is something that is entirely up to you. You just need to be aware that by doing this, your computer might run a little bit slower. In my case, but my machine can handle it pretty well, so I don't really have to worry about this. Before jumping into ZBrush, it's good to know exactly what you want to do and how do you want to split your character. And for this one, I'm going to split both hands, arms, torso, shoes, head, and the ball. The legs, I'm going to keep them merged because there's no reason to print them separately. When I have a clear idea of how I want to slice my character, I just need to separate all those parts into different subtools. So the idea here is that each subtool will be a single piece to print. By the end of this process, I will have a different subtool for each hand and foot, each arm, head, torso, legs, and the ball. So, what I'm more concerned at this stage is to make sure that I don't have any holes on the geometry. I pay close attention to areas where objects are close to each other, like the jacket and the shirt, and I slowly move them closer together so they are intersecting. Later, when I dynamesh these objects, I want them to create one single surface without any interior geometry. This is called hollowing the pieces. In this particular piece, you can see that I created a sphere to cover the hole where the neck is going to connect with the shirt. And this is something that you might need to do a lot of times, and I do this because I want those areas to be as clean as possible, so it's easier for me to piece all these objects together. I'm going to use a different method for the holes on the shoulders. Usually, if I have a good edge flow around these areas, it's a lot easier for me to create clean surfaces by deleting these loops and all the interior geometry. And then, when I dynamesh it, it will automatically close the hole and create a much smoother surface where the arm is going to connect with the torso. For the connection between the legs and the torso, I start by turning on live boolean, so it's easier to see how these pieces are intersecting. I use the same basic idea of creating a new piece that will cover that hole, and I actually duplicated the legs and used the top surface of that object to create a clean surface. As many other things in ZBrush, you can do the exact same thing in a million different ways, so it's really up to you how you want to take care of these problems. In the end, all you need are clean pieces that will print easily. When I'm done cleaning up the surfaces, it's time to add keys. Keys are small objects that will help you to piece all the different objects together. You can use a lot of different shapes to create keys, but I usually create a tapered cube that will stick to the surfaces where I'm going to connect all the parts. Obviously, at this stage, if I printed the legs and the torso, I couldn't really piece them together because the torso doesn't have any holes for the key. That's where the Boolean process comes in. Later, I will go through this process so I can Boolean out the key where I need to, and I will apply this to every single object that I need to print. After fixing the shoes, the only thing left to do with them is to boolean them out using the legs as a subtractor to remove the key and all the unwanted geometry out of the shoes. For this process to work, I need to move the legs underneath the shoes on the subtool list, change the Boolean process to subtract, and turn on live Boolean. The process will be exactly the same for all the other pieces. With the shoes and legs ready, I can move to the upper part of the character and take care of both hands and arms. I start by working on the connection between the hand and the shirt, and I'm going to use another way to close the holes that might be useful for you as well. I'm going to use the Z Modeler brush to create a new polygroup around some faces, so it's easier for me to select them and scale them down until I fill that hole. I could create a new sphere or any other shape that fill that hole, just like I did with the shirt collar. It's totally up to you how you feel more comfortable doing these tasks. And for last, I add keys on both upper and lower connections of the arm, and I use this arm as a subtractor to delete all the unwanted geometry out of the hand and later on the torso. I will boolean out the torso for last, because I will have to use multiple pieces as a subtractor to remove the geometry. So instead of doing it multiple times, I will first take care of all the other pieces and then come back later to finish the job on the torso. I'm almost done with this character and it took me around 1.5 hours to prep this one. The only thing I have to do before sending this to the printing software is to decimate all the pieces and lower the poly count. If you want to learn more about this process, I highly recommend you to watch my full tutorial. I explain what are the differences between resin and FDM printers, share a lot of tips on how to get the best results out of filament printers, and go through this entire process a lot slower and deeper. Make sure you use the promo code on the description below so you can get a nice discount on this tutorial. I hope you found this video useful and I will see you on the next one.